All right, greetings everybody. So, we hear all the time about the left and the right. What does it mean to be in the left and what does it mean to be on the right? If somebody's a leftist, what exactly does that mean? Who are the leftists? Who are the rightists? Where do these concepts come from? So, our discussion today is on ideologies, left versus right. Okay, so let's start with a definition. A quick definition would be that political ideologies are sets of beliefs and values that shape political behavior and policy preferences, influencing how societies are organized and governed. That's basically, simply put, what political ideologies are. So, as an overview, the term left and right originated during the French Revolution, symbolizing opposing political philosophies that continue to shape contemporary politics. We will discuss this in more detail later in a little bit. So, but for a start, what are the key characteristics of left wing ideology? So the core beliefs of a left wing ideology is that it advocates for social equality and justice. It supports government intervention in the economy to address equality. The key policies that are linked to left wing ideology are economic policies such as higher taxes on the wealthy to fund social programs, universal health care and educational initiatives, emphasis on civil rights like gender equality and LGBTQ plus rights, and advocacy for environmental protection and regulations on businesses. On the other hand, when it comes to right wing ideology, its core beliefs are it's an emphasis on individual liberties and limited government intervention. It supports traditional social norms and values. When it comes to the key policies, right wing ideology believes in lower taxes and minimal regulation on businesses. It believes in promotion of free market capitalism, in preference for maintaining traditional family structure and cultural norms, and stricter immigration laws and a focus on national sovereignty. What is the historical context of left versus right? We discussed before that started with the French Revolution. But basically, left wing supporters advocated for revolutionary change, while right wing supporters defended the monarchy and traditional hierarchies. The story goes that when the king used to sit in his court, the French court, that people of the aristocracy used to sit to his right, and people who represented the revolution, represented the commoners, used to sit to his left. And that's where the original concept comes from, left versus right. The people to the right of the king advocated for more conservative values, and people to the left of the king advocated for more revolutionary change. And this is basically the origin story of the concepts of left and right. So, these concepts have not been fixed. They're not fixed in time. They have been changing and kind of evolving over time. So the left has evolved to embrace progressive reforms, while the right has often focused on preserving existing institutions and resisting change. And this is something I will discuss about in a little bit. So let's discuss some contemporary examples of left-wing ideology. When it comes to political parties, we think of the Democratic Party in the United States of America. We think of the Labour Party in the United Kingdom. Key figures of which you have Bernie Sanders in the US and Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, especially also in the US. When it comes to the right wing, you have the Republican Party. We think of Donald Trump. And in the UK, we have the Conservative Party, and we can think of Boris Johnson. Okay, what are the key issues for the both wings? So the left wing, we said they believe in, one of the main key issues they advocate all the time is climate change. We also can think of universal health care, wealth distribution or redistribution. And when it comes to the key issues for the right wing, you have tax cuts, national security, and deregulation. Politics 101, left versus the right. Basically, left is more socialistic, right is more capitalistic. The left believes in collectivism, division of wealth, class division, protectionism. The right believes in individualism, retention of wealth, class retention, and free trade. Of course, right wing and left wing, they are not fixed terms. It's actually more like a spectrum. And they do change with time. I will discuss this in a bit. But for now, let's say that political ideologies exist on a spectrum with moderates and extremists on both ends. There are other ideologies, such as libertarianism, that emphasizes individual freedom with minimal government intervention, and you have populism that can be found on both sides, appealing to ordinary people against the elite. So, before we go to the conclusion, I want to talk about the spectrum. There is something in political science that is called the Overton window, Overton window. And this is a very important concept that says a lot about how these ideologies change with time, and what can be said with relative confidence is that in the last maybe couple of decades, the Overton window has been moving to the left. So basically, like simply put, what used to be considered a leftist ideology 20 years ago may be considered right-wing ideology now. Hopefully I will make a video on this concept, a separate one in the future. But for now, if you're really interested, just Google it and you will see what I mean. But to make it simple here and not go too long, what is right and what is left changes with time, and like we said, in the last 2 decades, things have been moving a lot towards the left. So as a conclusion, we need to recognize the difference between left wing and right wing in order to help ourselves navigate political discourse and engage in informed discussion about policy issues. Guys, you need to understand how important this is, because it actually changes the way you live your life. It makes all the rules that is governing your daily life, and this is not something that can be just ignored. I mean, if you are paying extra taxes for your V8 car, this has to do with left-wing ideology. If you cannot bring your relatives to the United States because the visa is so difficult, that has something to do with right-wing ideology. So you need to understand that these things touch almost every aspect of your life. These are not just some academic stuff, some stuff you hear on the news. This is something that touches your very own existence within the country in which you live, especially in the West. So I hope that was helpful. Like and subscribe, and let me know what you think, and see you next time.